Good day, welcome once again. So, today I want to build some more, reflect some more. Perhaps maybe start with this energy of commitment. Feels like there is a growth happening there. Either way, commitment to what and how. Again, reflecting on how we actually participate within creation. But so I feel commitment towards our dreams, our visions, that which we actually really want to create. What does that look like? How can we actually do this consciously? It also got me thinking about, the dream. How do we actually realize the vision? How do we actually dream the dream into existence? And that got me thinking about this, like on the shirt. It is the I am, our being. It is our energy of our being, our energy of how we actually are, how I am. It is shaping that environment. It is shaping the dream. So when we think of a vision, when we think of a dream that we want to realize, want to create, we have to see this I am with its environment. That is the whole thing. This dream, this vision, we may look at the environment, what does that look like? But also, very importantly, what is actually my true form, my form of being? How am I in that state, in that dream? A dream can be described as a state where environment is in a certain waveform or energy or vibration or being, and how are we actually fitting into that so that the whole thing can actually truly exist. So commitment, when we truly want to commit to realizing that dream, that in this context then also means us, our being, growing into that form which matches this dream state. Growing into that is a whole journey. I would say also, it is a journey of self-discovery, journey of healing, journey of discovering this I am and seeing what energy are we truly at in our current environment. And then from there we can consciously, from that commitment towards our vision, our dream, we can consciously align ourselves more and more and more. And it towards that form that actually fits that dream state. And it's a form that has to be discovered in itself. It's like stepping out of the illusion. We may think it's a lot easier than it actually is, or that we are actually already in this form that actually fits that, but there is a process of facing reality and then seeing like, here and here and here, I'm actually not that. But seeing that allows us to then grow into a form that actually fits more and more. And that way we are actually walking through life, realizing that dream step by step. So I spoke about environment as well, our role within the environment. Looking at that as a whole, in this case, the whole, the environment and me in it, maybe from that bird's eye perspective, seeing the whole, what's actually truly going on here. If I'm actually trying to create an environment that is whole, that is has all these qualities, very loving, that is very also like independent. The people inside of themselves are stable within themselves and things like that, are inside of their own power, are actually mature in themselves as well. If this is a vision I want to create, true cooperation, true unity, being able to also look at, well, where are we actually at currently? Where am I at? Most importantly, maybe me in my environment, on my journey, like meeting people, I encounter them, I may feel the connection sometimes a lot deeper than others, but holding this vision in my mind of this is where I want to go, this is what I want to create, I then start to apply this to the people that come in my life. As I step into that environment, as they step into me as being in the environment for them, I may then talk about these kind of visions and they may say, oh, yes, I would actually also love this or whatever. But looking at the true dynamic of what is actually going on, does it actually fit this state of the dream which we want to realize? And how does it not fit that currently? From there, being able to see, well, how do we move from this state to that state? These kind of questions. What is my role in all of this? Certainly also matured into not forcing the environment into a certain state. That actually came a lot from me needing that, needing people to step into this vision, needing people to also want this or whatever, for me to actually feel at peace. And I noticed that is a major shift, having shifted that within myself, finding peace, not needing them to step up into that vision. I have my peace either way. That already helped me grow more into that I am energy that actually fits this vision. It also actually brought in a whole lot more freedom, both for myself and the others, taking away that kind of unconsciously forcing each other into a certain trajectory or transformation or whatever, and really letting each walk their own path. But so I was talking about seeing clearly the dynamic us within the environment. Are we actually moving towards that or not? Because if not, it may be, or I need to maybe change my behavior in this currently, how we are actually currently doing, moving. I want to bring in an example from the garden, specifically like tomatoes in my greenhouse. Let's say I have this vision of I want an abundant garden, lots of tomatoes. Let's just focus on the tomatoes for now, as this example. So what is abundance? Well, having harvesting a lot of fruit, the tomatoes, but also interestingly, me, what do I invest into that? If I have to work my ass off for those fruits, the abundant lowers, I guess, than when I put in very little energy myself, and actually it's giving a lot of fruits that way. So there is also abundance or alignment to that through looking at how we are participating in that whole dynamic. Now, the thing with these tomatoes as well is from the image of want to create abundance, want to have a lot of harvest, a lot of tomatoes. Um, so we can from there decide to water the plants every day, give them a lot of water. Well, what happens is these plants, they get lazy. They don't grow their roots deeply. Also, look at myself. I am having to put in that energy, that time, the investment of every day going and watering them. You could also like prune them a lot and things like that or whatever, but just look at the watering now. There is another strategy which fits this dream state a whole lot more, and that is actually, well, water them once every 3 days or so. This allows those tomato plants to actually also transform, to grow into that which fits this dream state, a state where I don't have to put in that much energy and they are giving a whole lot of tomatoes. When I stop watering them so much, I actually take back my investment. I'm actually helping them or giving them the opportunity to grow. They may then start to actually grow stronger themselves, start to grow these deeper roots, and actually start to take care of themselves, become more independent themselves. Why would they if there is this guy coming every day and watering them anyways? It's the same with all environments, with people. Why would they become independent when we are always there for them to depend on? There is a balance also, like pulling ourselves away completely. My tomatoes, eventually they will die. Same here with, it's also interesting in this example, if I start to shift from watering them every day to suddenly going once every 3 days, some of these plants, they may actually not choose to step into that transformation and they may even die. But that's also, there is a freedom in that, in letting that happen. Again, me, I won't lose sleep or my peace over that if that happens. I have found my peace with, I'm going to this dream state, realizing that, and this is the way there. So, or at least let's always walk towards there. Still, there is always the journey of discovering more and more and more, but either way, eventually we will get there. So, with applying this example into looking at us inside of our environments, this relationship with people, with maybe one, is it, am I feeding something which is actually allowing this to grow towards that, or am I actually stunting the growth itself? And from that wisdom, finding our role, our being, our energy in this. It's also interesting, again, think about the example of the tomato plants. Why did I initially go and water them every day? Maybe I'm afraid that they would get thirsty. Maybe I'm afraid that they would die if I don't water them. Same with people. Why do I keep investing my energy necessarily? It's often also coming from we're trying to create or realize a potential. We're trying to get somewhere, but are we actually truly getting there through our actions? Sometimes it's really that feels very in line with the past couple of videos, really pulling back our own energy, maybe actually creating that environment, the circumstances in which they can then meet themselves, and then the growth doesn't have to, but it can. Sometimes it's really us who is standing in the way. Why would people become independent when they always have you to fill in that? When we pull ourselves back, creating a sort of a void, then the question becomes, how do they fill that void? Through transforming themselves, but at least we're allowing that without also the guarantee. I think that's important in this as well, to not step away from that forcing energy of forcing growth upon the other, but just a more freer thing. Is this is actually the most wise thing to do, because you're creating an environment into which they can actually transform or not. Got me thinking a lot about essence as well. And I have like an image of essence, seeing essence as, in a way, the God seed, or God. We all have that seed, our core of our being, our core of our I am as well. And this can grow into a form, a being, an I am that actually fits this dream state, a godly paradise in which we are all united actually. And so I feel also my role is often, or seeing how sometimes talking to people's essence is, or like my presence itself can, there are a lot of flies in this whatever. So I see myself sometimes watering that essence. Feels very free as well. Um, or treating that essence as a sort of a seed, watering, letting it grow. But it also, or me, I'm actually also then giving it a space to choose whether they want to grow into this or not. By me creating the proper environment, I'm going to overwater that. Sometimes also really stepping away so they can meet themselves, which may actually really be that environment in which this essence can actually start to come to, or take on its form, come alive. Maybe a continuation. It's I'm seeing definitely a shift within myself, how I feel like before a younger version of me would much more try to force the people who are in my life to move towards that vision, move towards unity, love, all those things that come together. Now I see myself much more like a peaceful gardener. All the people in this world, also people in my environment, they have this kind of essence within them, that kind of God seed within them. And I can choose to water it, and it feels much more free. They can either grow into that vision or not. And I feel a lot more peaceful also with making peace. That's maybe interesting with this. Why do we keep investing our energy so much in certain dynamics, in certain environments, or in that manner that we are doing it? Reflecting on that, seeing it, can show us that's what I described earlier. It is this path of self-discovery, this path of healing. It is actually a discovery of where is our being, our true energy really at. And from there we can see, here I'm actually not fully aligned with this vision, because there is still a part of myself that for some reason keeps then investing the energy in this particular dynamic. It's, so you can call it an unhealed part of our own self. But so there is this process of discovering that, and it keeps, as it keeps moving, that is how we move towards the dream. That is how we make our dreams really come true. And also this commitment towards that dream. Stepping away doesn't mean we're suddenly not committed to it. I feel like I have this commitment towards all the essence in the world, really, towards God, I guess, but also people. It's like I'm taking away the commitment towards people in the current form they currently are at, and really putting it towards the essence. I'm committed to watering that essence, taking care of that essence. It is also up to you whether you grow or not. But I will not, guess I'm touching here like how sometimes taking my energy away from something, or like stepping back a bit, felt to me like um, not being committed or something like that. But that's where I now see this refinement in no, stepping away can actually still be committed, but you're committed to the higher form. And through stepping away, we actually allow the conditions to arise in which this can actually truly happen. But there is always still also, I guess, the process of getting entangled with an environment. But and that's not a bad thing. The thing is, through that we can discover ourselves. But then there is also the suddenly something seems to shift, and we come back home to ourselves. We maybe need to disentangle ourselves, but through that we're actually rising into our higher form of our being, the one that is actually fitting that dream, the wholeness, the unity, the real love. And that is the way, that is the path we just have to keep walking. That is what we just have to keep doing, keep growing, and then eventually this becomes our reality as we become that form that fits that reality. And just like our environment, letting that, giving it that freedom to also transform or not. And I'll leave it here for today. Definitely feels like we can build more on this maybe later or some other days, but feel satisfied for now. So have a good one.